Today is a very special day because it will be the first time ever that we are actually going to be buying a motorcycle specifically for the channel from money we have earned from YouTube. So, yay! So today we have got a £1,500 performance motorcycle challenge. There's a few criteria that we want to try and meet. Well, there's a couple of criteria we have to meet.
Yes.
But there's a few more criteria that
would be nice to
have.
Yeah.
So the first main criteria has to have an MOT, of
Yeah.
course, and also it has to have over 100 horsepower. And we got £1,500 to make that happen,
Yeah.
which I don't think that's a lot of money, but I suppose we'll have to wait and see how it goes. The other criteria that we've got, ideally, I would like it to be fuel injected, just for E10, because I don't want to be going around trying to look for petrol stations specifically for E5. That'd be really annoying. And ideally, it's a sport bike. Originally, this was going to be a sport bike challenge, but I think that's going to be even harder to do. So we're going to leave our options open, but if it ends up being a sport bike by the end of today's video, then
amazing.
We're doing pretty well. Right, so wifey, where do you want to start? Do you want to look on Auto Trader?
Sorry, the dog's licking my leg. It's really off-putting. Yeah, I'll go on Auto Trader.
You'll go Auto Trader?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look on Facebook Marketplace first,
Okay.
which is going to be a pain because I don't think most of the time they don't leave numbers. I think you've got to send them a message on the Facebook, which is going to be a bit of a pain.
50 miles, right?
Yeah, we're looking within 50 miles. I mean, I don't know if it's worth extending that a little bit. I don't know. Maybe.
Should we go 50 to start with?
We'll do 50 to start with. We'll see what's around.
Okay.
So I think I will say for this challenge here that even though our budget is £1,500, if you're actually going to be doing this for real, I'd recommend budgeting closer to £2,000, mainly for any jobs that you need to do after you've bought the bike. So if you need to change tyres, I don't know, do an oil change service, whatever it might be, I think it's certainly worth having that extra 500 quid. I love that. People put down 2005 Gixxer, Suzuki Gixxer, that's it. They don't say what it is, they don't say if it's a 600, if it's a 1 litre, and the pictures are absolutely awful.
Maybe they don't know what it is.
Literally, it's just a Suzuki Gixxer.
So I found 4 so far.
4? Okay,
Yeah.
what we got?
So the first one we got a Suzuki GSX 1100 for $1,490.
I mean, that's sort of dealership, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and does it have MOT and everything?
Doesn't say, which is really, really promising.
Okay, that's probably not what we want then.
Okay.
If it doesn't say it's got an MOT in the description, then let's not even go there. See, for this, some of the obvious picks are going to be like a Honda CBR F3 or an F4.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, I've had a CBR 600RR before.
Yeah.
So an F3 or an F4 would be a bit of a downgrade from that anyway. So it's kind of, and it'd be kind of similar. So there'd be no point getting that either.
So this one looked really promising. It's a Kawasaki GPZ 1100.
Oh wow, GPZ. Okay.
It's 1,490. Again, it's through a dealership. Hands up, it's through a dealership. But it's a project bike.
Yeah. No.
It says in the description.
No, thank you.
Okay. Oh, what have you found?
There's a Blackbird.
A
Honda Blackbird.
But you love it too much. Do you know what I mean? Like, you love any bike, but you would not want to do...
It's a Honda Super Blackbird.
And how much is it?
Well, it's 1,900 quid. I don't know if I'll be able to get them down. But
You might have to meet them halfway with
MOT
that.
ran out in January.
Yeah.
It's
an extra...
It does say that MOT will be provided with the bike, but we need something today.
Yeah.
And I doubt that they'd be able to MOT it today and get the price down to 1,500 quid.
Yeah.
But that is a really, really nice option for this, honestly.
Got Honda VTR 1000, 108 brake horsepower.
What was that, sorry?
Honda VTR 1000 Firestorm X.
I think I saw that one. Let's have a look. I think it's down on power.
Is it?
I think I saw that one, but yeah, I think it's down on power. Does it say what power has it got?
It says brake horsepower up here is 108.
108.
Yeah.
That's 1975. I don't think I'd be able to get them down that far.
No. Everything else on here is over 2,000.
Pin that one though, because that is an option. That does fit our description for what we want as a performance bike.
Do you think you'd be able to go any higher? Would you be willing to go any higher?
No, the challenge is 1,500 quid.
Okay, just checking.
Because it's a nice round number, and we're trying to get the biggest, best bang for our buck with this.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's the thing. I mean, you can buy a car for £500.
Well, we did, didn't we?
A car with an MOT that's decent enough to run for £500. Like, you can't get a decent motorcycle for any less than £1,000 these days. What a picture that is. So you got this one. Okay, seems alright. And then you go to the next one, and then boom!
Wow.
Why would you upload that?
Mad skills.
What, they're trying to take a picture of the bike moving or something? When even there's no one on it. See, again, this one says, will have 12 months MOT. So it's not MOT'd then, is it? Will have 12 months MOT. When was this posted? 2 days ago. Will have MOT. That doesn't make any sense. Just sell it with an MOT. If you're a private seller, sell it with an MOT.
That is the strangest motorcycle I've ever seen.
It's a bicycle with a motor.
Yep. 250 quid. What a bargain.
That's Honda's first ever motorcycle, that.
It is a Puch, because it's not a push, it's a Puch 800cc two-stroke engine mounted on a Peugeot mountain bike. Good fun, green lane bike. It looks
Totally road legal.
Some decent areas, decent others bad. Wheels. What?
Wheels.
So literally it says, the description, word for word, you ready?
Yeah.
Heavily modified, hence the price, but rides well enough. Frame mod, repaint, some decent areas, decent others, bad wheels. Fogs lights, loud air horn, wireless phone charger, reason for sale, too loud for early morning commute.
That's such a load of bollocks. Too loud for early morning commute. You kidding me?
I mean, look at that little exhaust though down there.
Oh, that'll be why it's so loud.
Yeah.
They basically just cut it off. There's a 2000 Yamaha YZF. It's an R6. 18,500 miles.
Oh, this is what you were saying.
16. So it's a 2000 Yamaha R6.
Okay. How many monies?
It's £1,600.
Oh, we might be able to negotiate that down.
Well, we should. So it says the bike has been in storage in a closed garage since January this year. It's been stored with a full tank of fuel, and we'll need a fresh battery. Why would need, if it's just since January, why would you need to get fresh fuel?
Should be alright, depends what you put in it, I guess.
Well, I mean, fuel does kind of go out of date, but still, I mean, after a year maybe, not after just a couple of months.
I found a Triumph Trident.
A Triumph Trident?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Sounds like chewing gum, doesn't it?
I mean, what do you think of this one? Is this an option? I'm not convinced about the colour personally, but I think it's an option.
I like it.
It's an R6.
It's an R6.
An R6.
I'm not being funny, we've got spray paint, we can just change the colour.
Yeah, just make it matte black.
Exactly.
A matte black R6.
Oh, that'd be so cool though, wouldn't it?
I would like it to have some value after, if we don't ruin it. But it's a nice looking bike, to be honest with you. And 18,500 miles, that's
Not bad really, is it?
not too bad. I'm gonna stick that one to one side. Because this is a neat little bike, you know? Looking at the specs of it, so you're looking at 120 horsepower at 13,000 RPM from the crank, 92 Newton meters of torque, I mean, its dry weight is 169 kilograms. So wet, you're probably looking about 190 or so. Standing quarter mile, 10.8 seconds. Top speed, 161.5 miles an hour. That's a quick little bike.
That the R6?
Yeah. Yamaha YZF, but it doesn't say what it is. It's an R1. Okay, it's an R1, but the bike needs a new engine. Apparently, they want £1,400 for it.
With a new engine needed.
Yeah, it needs a new engine. Needs new engine, bike not running at the moment. Some extras also include LED side indicators, an LED rear brake light with indicators incorporated into the black screen. Okay.
Wow.
It doesn't run, mate.
Yeah.
It doesn't run.
Those lights aren't going to show if there ain't no engine.
I mean, I don't know how much a Yamaha R1 engine would be, but it'll probably be about as much as what you'd be paying for that bike. And you're going to have to fit it. I found it.
Oh no, what have you found? It's a Ducati, it's a scooter, it's everything you've ever wanted. And it's only 2 years old. Oh my god,
and it comes with a thumb.
And a thumb? Wow. It actually looks like a Tonka toy.
It does, doesn't it?
What's that?
A Suzuki Banditin.
Banditin?
Banditin 600.
Oh, wow. Suzuki GSF 600 SK4 Bandit.
Well, it says it's now back on the road, but it doesn't say if it's got an MOT.
Hmm.
Always put that in the video description. I keep saying video description. In the advert, if it has an MOT, you put that in there because it's something that helps the sale. Again, if you're trying to sell something, try and articulate your words. You know, like try and sound fairly decent when you're trying to sell something. Because I saw an advert on eBay the other day for a bike. I mean, we're not doing eBay because most of them are like auction, and we want something today for this video today. This is the day we've got allocated to get a motorcycle. But the video description was so bad. It was all like text typing. Do you remember like the old 2000s text typing? It was like that. Okay, right, so these are the ones that I got. So the first one we got is this Yamaha R6. I'm not a particular fan of this colour. I'll say that much.
I like it.
I knew you would.
But I'm not the one riding it, so my opinion doesn't really matter.
It's a very nice example of an R6. It's 18,500 miles. That's it.
Why don't you like the colour? Just out of curiosity.
I just don't. I just don't.
Okay.
Anyway, the next one we got. So this is a Phaser, an FZ6. This is one of those high mileage ones, 73,000 miles. MOT is in September as well, so it's not got a long MOT. But it looks in pretty good nick, I have to say.
Got a centre stand?
Yeah. Yeah, these kinds of bikes, they're used for touring mainly. Yeah, they have one of those stands.
That'll make it really easy to work on.
Yep, it will. But that is a nice bike, isn't it?
It's a lovely bike, yeah.
They are down on power a little bit. I think it's 97 horsepower is what they got at the crank. So they're a little bit down on power, which is a little bit outside of our criteria. But
it's only got part of a service history as well. I mean,
when you're looking at bikes like this, I think all these bikes have only got part history. So the next one, we got a Thunder Race. Definitely within our price range. 45,500 miles. 12 months MOT. It looks pretty good if you ask me.
Yeah, I like the colour.
And this is the bike that has got the most horsepower of any of the ones we've been looking at today. The most horsepower. So it's got a crack on the front mudguard. So I imagine it's on here somewhere, but I wouldn't worry about that too much, to be honest. But I like this one. I like this one. This one for me so far is number one. Okay. So we've got the CB600 Hornet. Again, this one falls slightly short on the horsepower. It's a little bit rough around the edges. It's got a dent on the exhaust and that. But I am a bit of a sucker for those underslung exhausts. under the
Honda
seat.
had that, didn't it?
And it's the same with this one as well, the Phaser. It's got, I love those under barrel exhausts. I absolutely love them. Yeah, this one I could miss.
Okay.
I don't think it's been looked after as much. And look at where it's stored. It's been stored outside. It's, so I'm not so keen on that
Take it out
one.
the list then now. If you're thinking second time around, I don't want to know.
No,
Take
thank
it
you.
out.
Get rid of that. Then we've got a Thundercat. So this one is in Leominster.
Does the bird come with it?
Yeah, the little bird. Well, that's pretty neat, isn't it? So this one again, it just falls in our 100 horsepower category or criteria. It produces 100 horsepower on the dot. Okay, pretty nice bike, same generation as the Thunder Race, but we could get an R6 that produces more horsepower for a very similar price to this. So it's a little bit newer and produces more power. So as nice as this bike is, and I hope it gets sold because it's a very pretty bike, very well looked after, you can tell. It's in perfect nick. For the bike that we're looking for the things that we have planned to do to this bike, I wouldn't be comfortable. It's too nice. It's too nice.
That's fair. I think that's
So
fair
I love this bike, but unfortunately it's got to come off the list.
Sure.
So here we go. So this is an R6, but this is the one where I think it's got new fairings, or at least the fairings have been resprayed.
It hasn't got the decals on
It hasn't got any of the markings on it. Yeah.
We could get decals, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But anyway, so 2000 R6, 28k miles. Not a lot of mileage at all. My CBR 600RR had more miles than that. MOT until June next year.
How much more?
1500 on the dot.
So we could get that one.
We could get that, and this in Bristol.
I quite
Okay.
like it.
I like it. I like it.
Is there a but?
There isn't a but. I like
Okay.
this bike. There's not a lot of description about its
No.
history or anything like that. It just says good condition. Yeah, I mean, you can say that, but the pictures don't really tell you the whole story, I don't think, with these things. But I like this one. But this one's very similar to this one. It's the exact same model year. Exact same model year. But this one is... It's got 10,000 more miles, but it's got a nicer coloured fairing, in my opinion.
Which do you prefer out this one or the other one?
This one.
You prefer that one?
Even though I hate the colour,
Okay.
it's got 10,000 less miles on it.
Okay. Remember, we can always get it resprayed.
It's just annoying because this one's in Worcester and this other one's in Bristol. They're opposite ends of each other.
Know. But remember, we could always get it resprayed if it really bothers you, the colour.
I wouldn't bother, to be honest with
Like, we know someone who can help us with it, so it's not a problem.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother. Okay. Now this is it's a thick 636 Ninja,
Bumblebee.
but it is $2,000.
Oh, good. Look at that.
Yeah, I know. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's okay. But apparently this is a 636 Ninja. Down on power a little bit. I mean, let's compare this to the R6s that we're looking at here. 120 horsepower.
I personally, don't come for me, don't think you should get another Kawasaki.
No, I don't think so either.
I think we should, because you've always talked about R6 and R1 and all that sort of thing. I think
I've always wanted a Yamaha. I've never had a Yamaha before.
And you've already got the blooming keychain for it.
That's true. Yeah, I do.
That was a whole different story. But I think we should look towards the Yamahas because we found a bunch of them, you really like them, we'll ignore these. And I think we should look at some of those that you found.
I think it's a good call.
You get most excited when you talk about those out of everything.
I mean, well, so this 2002 ZX6i, yes, it's a 636. I think is it a 636? I'm pretty sure it is. So it has a little bit of extra displacement, which is always nice. Yes, 636, but it's actually a little bit down on horsepower. 118 horsepower compared to the R6 from a couple of years earlier, 120 horsepower.
Mm.
And the R6 has got a load more torque. Look, you see that?
Mm-hmm.
68 newton meters of torque for the 636 Ninja, 92.3 newton meters of torque for the R6. This R6 must have blown all of them out the water when it came out. There was nothing as good as this.
Let's
So at the moment, it's looking like it's between these R6s and the Thunder Race.
Let's get rid of the Kawasaki's for now because I don't think.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I'll get rid of that one. We don't need any more Kawis in our lives.
I guess now we wait.
I don't want to wait.
I know.
Don't want to wait. Especially if we've got to go up to bloody Shrewsbury. Road trip.
Yeah.
You are so loud, Pug. Yeah, you. Oh, you want some scratchies, do you? Okay. See, numbers are just so much better.
I know, right?
Because you can get hold of someone straight away. Don't like this waiting about. Oh, it looks like he's seen it there.
Yes.
Yeah, Mike's seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is the one in.
This is in Shrewsbury.
We've had a reply.
It's a long way.
It's a very long way.
It's a long way, and if we don't like it,
it's 4 hours.
if there's I mean, there's nothing wrong. Well, I said there's nothing wrong with it, but you might not be fully being honest. Alright, so it looks like we're landing on this Yamaha Thunder Race. It's well within our price range and it fits our criteria pretty much on the nose. So, I mean, we're just going to ask this guy for his address. He hasn't got back to us yet. So hopefully he'll get to us soon. I mean, he's been replying pretty consistently so far. But so as soon as he's given us his address, we'll go and take a look at it, shall we? Alright, let's go. And this is what I ended up with. The Kawasaki ZX-9R. Now I know a few of you are going to be disappointed by this, but believe me, I really tried getting hold of that Thunder Race, but unfortunately I had a few too many issues with it. But anyway, let me show you this ZX-9R. So this is a 1999 model, so it's 24 years old this year. But I tell you what, even though it's got some scratches on it and some marks, there's a few cracks here in the fairing, you know, there's a few scuffs here and that. But for a 24-year-old motorcycle, it doesn't actually look too bad. And I tell you one thing, it runs as sweet as a nut. Honestly, this thing is absolutely wicked. And it cost me the whole sum of, drumroll please, 1,450 British pounds. That is it. Now, it does need a service. The previous owner did mention to me that it needs a service, so I'm going to do that ASAP as soon as I've got myself some fully synthetic 10W40. But I mean, other than that, it's pretty much ready to rock. But at some point or other, we will be doing a bit more of a deep dive into looking at the quality of all the fluids, so the coolant, the brake fluid, things like that. But anyway, right now, shall we take her out for a ride? I think we should. She is mainly just dusty more than anything else. There we go. A little woofy there.
Oh, little sweetie. Hello. Yeah, she is mostly just dusty, to be honest with you. She's been stored away for a little while. I think she hasn't been ridden all that much. But yeah, man, she really runs nice. We'll take her out on some of these roads here and I'll show you what I mean. But we did it, guys. We successfully completed the £1,500 performance motorcycle challenge. No, I'll tell you what, I'm going to change that. It's a sport bike challenge now because we've done it. We've actually got ourselves a thoroughbred sport bike. I mean, this was basically Kawasaki's flagship during the 90s. It's got a lot of racing pedigree, and honestly, you really feel it. I mean, I haven't fully brought up the temperature yet, but she pulls like a train. I think she's producing 147 horsepower off the top of my head at the crank and 101 newton meters of torque, which is so sweet from a motorcycle that weighs just over 200 kilograms. Oh man, what a machine. Alright, but whilst we're riding along here, let me tell you about what happened to the Thunder race that we went to go see. So unfortunately, it was not meant to be. That motorcycle, when we arrived, as soon as we turned it on, well, the owner said it was running really lumpy, but well, he said that when we got there, because if he'd have said that before we left, I did ask him if there were any mechanical issues with it. If he'd have said that before we left, I would have said to him, right, send me a video of it then. Send me a video so I can hear what it sounds like. But anyway, that never happened. So basically, there was a serious engine knock coming from the left-hand side of the engine. I mean, that was the first thing really that I picked up. But you know, I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I went on a test ride on it just in case it was actually running a little bit rough, and once it warmed up, it would sort itself out. No, if anything, the knocking got worse. And as I was actually on the test ride, I'll tell you what, not even 20 seconds into the test ride, the oil light came on. And oh dearie me. Unfortunately, I don't know how long it had been running starved of oil. And I know, looking at forums, that Thunder races consumed oil. Traditionally, they did consume oil as they ran. And I wasn't too concerned about that, because apparently it's a pretty normal thing. Well, I say normal, I mean it was like that basically from the factory. So it was built by Yamaha like that. I think there was some I don't know if there were rumors or what have you, but I think there were some details about the engine. The cylinders in the engine weren't bored correctly for the size of the pistons or something like that, so oil would seep into the combustion chamber. But anyway, this bike had literally no oil in it whatsoever. And so for me, that was the biggest red flag. Again, I did give it another benefit of the doubt because I really wanted that Thunder race, man. I mean, the cosmetic condition, it was acceptable to me. I could look past the way how it looked. But I mean, this bike actually, even in its cosmetic state, looks better than that Thunder race did, which I think is fortunate that I ended up walking away from that one. But yeah, the biggest red flag was no oil in it. But again, I did give it the benefit of the doubt. Once again, the owner, I did ask if the owner had some oil lying around, and they did, luckily. So he put some in there, which was another slight red flag for me, because I mean, if you got oil running around and just lying around in your garage, then you're probably topping up your Thunder race with some oil, right? So you know it's an oil burner, but he must have forgotten to check or something like that. I don't know. It'd been sat there for a couple of months apparently, and he hadn't ridden it for that long, but he had been turning it over. And yeah, basically the knocking would not go away. It was horrendous. I did have a look online to see if I could find some footage of a similar kind of thing that I saw when we looked at the Thunder Race, but unfortunately no, I couldn't find anything that sounded like it or that was coming from the exact same direction, from the exact same place rather, that Thunder Race I was looking at. I mean, to be honest, it could have been just a timing issue, I don't know. I mean, when I said it could have been a timing issue, he did say that recently a mechanic did adjust the timing, but I mean, so there's that. It could also be a valve clearance issue. So who knows, but basically it was going to cost me a significant amount of money, and to be fair to him, we did offer to cut the price to accommodate, but I really didn't know how much that would cost to get fixed, and it's not one of those things that I would want to do myself, to be perfectly honest with you. You know, if something breaks with this one in the engine, then yeah, fine, I'll take a look at it, but it was something, that bike, I don't think it was actually going to even make it back home, and we had travelled an hour and a half, 2 hours to go and see it. It was well out of our ways. So we really were committed to that one, but I had to walk away from it. And unfortunately, when it comes to buying old bikes, guys, that's just how you have to be. You've got to be really strict with yourself and not let your emotions cloud your judgment. Because I really did want that Thunder Race. It looked like the best option that we had. And yeah, we ended up walking away. We did end up staying around Shrewsbury to see if there were any other bikes around, and me and the wife, we hadn't eaten all day at that point, so we did get a little bit of food in our bellies, sent off some messages to some other bikes in the local area, but unfortunately there was none. So we gave up for the day. We gave up, we went home, and it was pretty much a wasted trip, and yeah, we were feeling a little bit demoralized by that, as you can imagine. Alright, what's the hold up here as well? Oh, it's roadworks. Bloody hell. Let's do a little bit of filtering. Wow, this traffic is absolutely horrendous. Jesus Christ, the bus really need that much space to get out of a junction. Alright, so anyway, the next day we regrouped, and we were actually quite determined to not travel anywhere near the amount of distance that we actually did to look at a motorcycle, and especially if it being a one-off as well. We didn't want to do that again, and we basically thought to ourselves, well, we're not going to be able to complete the mission because we're going to have to wait to do this, and I really wanted to get a motorcycle that day. But anyway, that was not meant to be. We travelled all day to look at one bike. Yeah, it just didn't work, unfortunately, for us. But the following day, despite the fact that we said to ourselves, no, we're not going to travel that far to see another motorcycle, we basically did travel the same amount of distance to see this Kawasaki ZX9R, but it was in the opposite direction, so at least we got to experience some different roads rather than traveling north again. And yeah, I mean, pretty much the maiden voyage of this motorcycle, the test ride that I had, my first thought was, man, Kawasaki, you have done it again. Honestly, this engine runs absolutely perfectly. It's got 35,000 miles on the clock. 1999. She runs absolutely brilliantly. And on the way back home, I did give her the beans a little bit, because there was lots of dual carriageways and motorways that I could really test her out. And yeah, honestly, she runs absolutely perfectly. No knocking whatsoever. The engine runs really smooth, even though it's carbureted, and one of my ideal criteria was that it'd be fuel injected, but the Thunder Race wasn't fuel injected either. But so yeah, it does have a choke on it and everything like that, as you can see. But honestly, she runs perfectly. There's only one issue, and you can probably see, just the indicator runs a little bit too fast. And apparently that wasn't happening when it was put through its MOT about a month ago. So I will have to get that fixed before the next MOT, but we've got some time because this bike's got 11 months MOT left on it, man. So, I mean, as far as the challenge is concerned, I think today we knocked it out the park. We really did. 1,450 pounds gets you a ZX9R. in pretty lovely condition. It was just an amazing runner, but I still can't believe that we managed to make that happen. And she pulls like the day she was new. Honestly, she pulls so well. The only other issue is that the chain needs a slight adjustment. It's a little bit loose, but I mean, what more could you ask for, man? £1,500, and this is what I managed to get. It's just absolutely unbelievable. But anyway, thank you ever so much for joining me on today's journey. It's been fascinating. It's been an absolute roller coaster, but we made it happen, guys and gals. We made it happen, and it's all thanks to you. So thank you ever so much for making this a reality. This is absolutely fantastic. And I know it's a 24-year-old motorcycle, but even though she's got a lot of heart left, and in the short time that I've had this bike, I've fallen in love. Like I said, Kawasaki has done it again. But anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. I'll leave it here for today. You'll be seeing this bike again in the very near future. So thanks again, take care. We'll catch you all in the next video. Have a good one.